But, getting like a couple death threats here and there, so that's always fun.
You guys have never had death threats before?
Hey, mate. You seem like really agitated.
I don't know how to be responsible for something that somebody else said.
It's called being a host! It's called being a host! What do you mean? So, today, I want to look at a little bit of drama that's started in the wake of Destiny's appearance on the Whatever podcast. I'm not going to watch the whole podcast because it is 5 hours 19 minutes, and I have actually seen the whole podcast. I watched it in several bits over the weekend, but that there is no way I'm watching the whole of this. So the drama that's come in the wake of Destiny's appearance is that Melina, who was also on the show, released a clip to TikTok, which we're gonna try and watch that segment. It's only about 5-6 minutes long. We're gonna watch it in total. And she asks them, look, let's say you've got an 18-year-old girl, she's in an abusive relationship, what should she do? And they appear, at least they argue, Brian Atlas is going to argue with Destiny soon that that's not what happened, and we're going to cover that. But basically, what it appears to say is that a woman should just endure an abusive marriage, even if she's being beaten. It kind of looks like that's what she's saying. This upset, actually, Brian Atlas, who ran into Destiny, sounding quite upset. I've only seen the first part of that because I thought, okay, look, we have just got to cover this. So we are going to go and let's crack on with the clip.
When people use this rhetoric, but they sometimes paint this false picture that it's okay for people to stay together if it means not being a single mother household. Even if the situation, the relationship is super toxic, abusive, just not healthy. So I agree, single parent, single mother households are horrible. Completely agree with that. But I do think they're better than staying with somebody if he's being abusive to you. If he's hitting you, you should not raise your child in that environment. You should get your child out of there because that person is being a danger to your family, to you, and to your child.
I just like to point out, when people say single parent households, you make a lot of generalizations there, because I think there's a big difference between, I don't know, somebody whose parents are divorced, they see both parents regularly, they live nearby. I mean, that's kind of what happened to me when I was a kid, versus somebody who gets pregnant very young, maybe who comes from like a working class background, the father's never in the picture. Not just like a working class background, but people that are in actual like real poverty. I think then that's when you're getting... that's where you're getting a lot of these issues. Because if we look at like how many marriages ended in divorce, wasn't it close to 50%? We're not seeing 50% of kids growing up to be criminals, terrible, they have all these problems. It's a tiny minority of divorced families where you're having these problems, even though it is more likely. But I think we need to be clear about why it's more likely, in which... what the actual factors involved are. But anyway, let's carry on.
So I agree
with that.
Yeah. Well,
but that is still an anomaly. I mean, like we mentioned earlier, this is a true statistic.
Extreme
And
anomaly.
80% of couples can recover from that in 5 years. And I think it's fundamentally selfish. And you can tell because the type of people who say that, they're like, well, I just wasn't happy, so it's better for the child. It's absolutely not. It's not better for the child.
I'm sorry, this is crazy to say that it's not better for a child to have two parents who are divorced versus the father's beating the mother senseless on a regular basis. I'm sorry, this is just like...
But they
the mental
think that
gymnastics they do
they're
for
so
the world
prideful, they don't want to address whatever they're doing wrong, and their partner is probably, because water seeks its own level, probably just as prideful and narcissistic and doesn't want to address what's wrong and fix themselves. And so they think, well, I'm not happy, so the child must really not be happy. It destroys, especially young boys, if they don't have their father in the household, they're not socialized properly, like they're literally screwed for the rest of their lives. Daughters, they don't, it's not as effective to them. I mean, they like get a little bit more promiscuous with the guys they date, but in terms of like literally just like derailing someone's trajectory in life, young girls can more or less recover pretty well, but boys are like fucked if their dad's not present.
I just wanted to...
I mean, that's not really true. And also, what is not present? Being divorced doesn't necessarily mean the dad's not present. Although, if the dad's beating the mother senseless, I probably would keep the child away from him. Also, as a side note, I love the way religious people always go, this person's probably being prideful for wanting to leave the husband who's beating them senseless. But They never really see that. I feel like they're the most prideful people because they will happily tell you that like their worldview overrides anything. It overrides like just normal decency or normal like common morality that most people would have. Like if you're getting beaten, leave. Right? It trumps everything. Now I know what's best for you because I believe in God. And can you stop being so prideful? Can you stop being so prideful and just take my advice, please? Honestly.
So yeah, someone who's studying
But let's
law,
get through
I
this
take
clip.
a lot
Let's
of
get through this
criminology
clip because the
classes, and it is true
interesting
that
bits coming next.
Men who are raised in single mother households end up becoming criminals because of the lack of the father figure in their life.
Yes, as she
And
was just making that point.
Yeah.
Criminals, homeless, suicide,
is it?
promiscuity.
Again, what percentage are we talking about? And again, what we talking like they talk as if every single parent household is just like the mother on the streets. There's the kids going into crime. There's violence. It's not really true. I'm sorry. Like you see, in most cases where there's divorce, like the father's still going to be involved. I think it's only with, to be fair, probably if he's smacking her around, that people are going to be like, the people are really going to say no contact. They never want to see the kid. And there's a difference between not having a father in the house and complete fatherlessness. And there's also a difference between saying, okay, the instances of bad life outcomes, crime, violence, poor education, drug abuse, increase in single parent households, and saying, that's the norm. Most single parent households, the kid's addicted to crack and he's a gangster shooting people. That's not the case.
What you got?
I think it's
Melina.
important to shine.
I
I just think it's important to shine light on the whole fatherless things.
Shine it.
It is.
Wait, that's not you, Chase. Who's making the noise on the ground? Can somebody stop? Like, I don't know, somebody's banging
It's not,
my fucking.
Is it this?
No, it's not that. Somebody's like, there's a audible.
I'm not
Weird.
hearing
I can't hear it.
Just, I don't care who it is. Just stop, please.
Melina, what was it that you wanted
Yeah, I
to
was
say?
just curious. I just wanted to see like an honest.
So this was the bit that came
There's
from the
someone
clip.
that's very,
I
very
just wanted to
young
play
and
the
really
lead up
religious and,
because
like,
they said it was out of
values marriage
context.
a lot, and goes into a marriage and has kids when they're like 18, 19, 20, and then a year into the relationship,
Sorry.
it's really, really abusive.
From
Would
who?
you? From both.
This is so
Uh,
rare.
anyone
It's so
really.
rare.
I mean, it happens.
Go on.
I'm
Go
sorry.
on.
It's so no rare. Like it really isn't rare that people get abused in relationships. Unfortunately, I wish it was rare, but A, it isn't rare. B, if you have a young, especially religious woman rushing into marriage at 18, then yeah, actually that can be quite common.
I'm just even though it might be rare from what you guys think,
It is. Go on.
if it would
It's
happen,
not.
what would you recommend for those people to do? Would they divorce, or do you want them to keep going in the relationship?
Keep going.
You can't divorce. I mean, that's not a real thing. You can like separate. See,
It's not real, which even the woman there seems to be pulling a face at in the First World War German helmet. But let's play this.
his Catholic
Because
background
this is the
shines
important
through.
part.
You know that. You can't divorce. You can separate, but you can't actually divorce. That's not a real thing.
Even though it might be like physically abusive.
You got to endure. People are too.
You want to stick in the
wanna
relationship.
People got to
Like,
endure.
I mean, look,
people
I'm gonna be
nowadays
honest.
are just pussies. Everybody fucking quits. Everybody gives up. It's too hard. I'm this XYZ. This is why I'm special, so I can fuck up this entire situation based upon me being special.
Yeah, it's just me being special. Just let your husband smack you. If your husband's virtually putting you in hospital and you think one day he's going to kill you, you know what? Like, don't be such a pussy. Just take the fucking beating. Like, why not? So a lot of these guys said that this was taken out of context. And again, we're going to finish watching this segment. It's only a few minutes. But the context is clear. They are saying to a woman, if you are in an abusive relationship, if you're being smacked around, at least, I don't know the name, beard, earring, looks like odd early 2000s man, and John Doyle, yes, are very much saying if a woman's being like smacked around, if she's all of this, she should stay in a marriage. I don't see what the extra context is that we're supposed
The
to have
reality is
missed.
people just haven't learned to fucking endure. There have been hard times in relationships.
He said it several times, endure. Several times now he said this.
And it is what it is. You need to push through and you need
What if
to
the
endure
kid
because
is
we're in
getting
this.
abused?
Hold on. Because we're in this situation now like where everybody's just creating these like super nuanced like 1% example of like, well, what if the kid's fucking transgender, black, and abused, and he's a Black Lives Matter supporter?
Oh
Like,
yeah,
cool,
that was what was being said.
I get like that one fucking
No, but I'm
minute
asking for
situation.
anyone that might be in that situation, what would you recommend?
Okay,
Do you think
endure.
that-
I'll tell
would
you
they
what
give
I-
I
up
said it
endure?
about 12 times.
I'll tell you
If you're in that situation, endure.
I'll tell you what I would do. If my daughter was in a relationship with a guy and she gets married to him and he starts abusing her a
Kill the
year
guy.
into it, I'm gonna be showing up on their doorstep and teach.
John Doyle just says whatever insanity pops in his head. A minute he's like, there's no divorce, she has to stay with him. And he's like, yeah, murder the guy. Kill the guy. Like, he's one of these people who just love to say the most extreme, crazy thing they can in the moment. Now, oh, what's the extreme thing there with your daughter? Oh, yeah, I'd kill him. Yeah.
Teaching him some
It's
lessons.
insane.
That's what I would do. I also would
but,
not if I didn't have the capacity to do that for some reason, I don't know. I wouldn't want my daughter in that situation, quite frankly. And I understand the argument to endure because I have people close to me who grew up in abusive households and it lasted for periods of time and it was a phase and they endured through it and they ended up raising healthy, successful families to an extent.
Wait a minute. So either you'd go beat the guy up, you get your daughter out there, you wouldn't want her in that situation, or actually, you know what, they'll probably patch it all up and it'll all be fine. I really like to know where they're getting their data from on this. I'm not going to do a huge research about this bit because I want to get to the argument between Brian Atlas, the kind of drama bit, sort of like more juicy stuff between Brian Atlas and Destiny. So
you
weren't the
would say
healthiest
that
family.
So
just
let's
picking those
actually do that
relationships might
then.
be abusive to everyone involved and a child if there's a
I'm
child
not
involved.
saying like, hey,
That's
stick
an
in the relationship and get the shit beat out of
No,
you by
no,
your
no,
husband.
you're saying
I'm not.
endure
I'm
is
not.
an
I
extreme.
think you guys-
I'm just asking you what you believe.
I'm
on
just
this one
telling you-
specific thing.
I-
Even
I'm
if
not
it's a
telling
small
you-
extreme thing, I'm just asking you what you think if you just stick in that relationship or not.
It is such an extreme example that I can't give a prescription
Oh!
for what other people should do. There
There you
is
go.
an element of
How do you
what if your other half wants to skin you alive? I mean, a very rare occurrence. Well, I couldn't possibly give any kind of prescription because it's so rare. that doesn't affect whether you can give a prescription or not.
value,
And it's not rare either.
There is an element of value in what he's saying, but all I can tell you is what I would do as,
do you guys feel
as a
about- do you
father
guys
of
all
a
have
daughter in a
opinions about, like-
situation like that.
do you have opinions about third trimester abortion?
It's terrible.
Listen,
Okay,
terrible.
look at how quickly you can debate it. Do you know how rare third trimester abortions are? They're also really
Yeah,
fucking
they
rare.
are.
But you immediately had a visceral reaction to that,
Yeah.
right? There are households where parents are abusive to children. Like, that's not like an unfathomable thing. But for you to have that immediate visceral reaction to a type of abortion, that's so incredibly rare. But then when it's
I
like,
mean, we're
well, could you
talking
have-
about like a guy like getting drunk and like beating
have to be
beating his
getting
wife
drunk.
occasionally versus like somebody puncturing a woman's stomach with a needle and injecting euthanasia into the baby's eye socket.
I'm
It's
just
like a
saying, all I'm
grisly,
saying is
terrible
that
thing.
third trimester
And it's
abortion
murder.
is incredibly rare. But you have a visceral immediate reaction to that. But to hypothesize on could there
But
possibly
well,
be
okay,
a
so
child?
Yeah.
let me ask you guys. In the Catholic Church, I know that there's like annulments for marriages and stuff. Are there
That
no?
was a mistake.
Are there no exceptions?
Oh, it's a
for,
mistake.
Like, if a guy is beating his wife constantly.
The church isn't extreme enough for him.
No, there are, but now
Or a woman could as well, right?
Hold on.
Well, there's
Yes,
also a
she could, but-
distinction drawn between
If a woman's beating a dude,
legal-
that guy-
Hold on, guys.
a civil divorce, a legal divorce, and an actual divorce of a marriage. There's a distinction drawn in the Catholic Church where it's excusable to get a divorce in the legal sense.
I mean, look, I'll say this. I know there's like the Christian Catholic position and all that kind of stuff. If a woman is in a situation where she's getting the shit beat out of her by her husband and like he might kill her, yeah, she should leave the marriage, in my opinion.
But
Oh, wow.
statistically, like that's not what it is. It's kind of like with the abortion
Brave.
That's not like the majority of abortions. So let's like talk about what actually happens. And what actually happens when people are getting divorced isn't these types of scenarios. It's like literally initiated. You'll probably know the stat between 2/3 and 80% of the time by women. And the plurality of that reason is they feel unfulfilled. They want a new chapter in their life. It's like the eat, pray, love phenomenon. That should be outlawed. You legally actually should not be able to do this.
That are initiated by women, Brian.
I think we're through this. Like, there's a lot of memes. I could sit in. So this is I did watch this. This was a 5-hour, 20-minute video. I literally probably could sit here and do a 20-hour video just deconstructing all of the insanity in this video. But I'm not going to do that because it's too much. It's just way too much. And I am a lazy motherfucker if I am anything. Okay, so let's get to the memes and the drama. Give me your memes.
Hey, so am I
Okay,
canceled? Do you think I'm canceled
here we
or
go.
what?
No, why are you guys so freaking out over TikTok clips? I'm so confused right now. Isn't this what you guys do? Isn't this like the whole industry is like farming TikTok clips off each other?
No, it's been a little bad. It's been pretty bad, not gonna lie.
What has been bad? Do you show up sponsors?
No. Just like
Like, he sounds genuinely upset and shaken. He sounds scared that he's cancelled. To be fair, I don't know Brian Atlas well, but my understanding is that he's a right-wing podcast host. You would have thought surely he'd have had some of this before, but like, I mean, he genuinely seems like kind of a bit shaken and upset. So, like, my impression is he's not like, maybe this is the first time people have come at him. I don't know.
Just people talking shit online. Does it matter? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm being really dismissive. But go ahead.
I guess it's like mostly shit talking, but you know, getting like a couple death threats here and there, so that's always fun.
You guys have never had death threats before?
Not really.
Oh
but,
damn. Well.
But I don't know. I feel like and then I guess Daz Black, who I only recognize the name because I guess he made some massive hit piece on Tate.
Mm-hmm.
He seemed to not be a huge fan of the podcast because of something that a guest on the podcast said.
Okay, I don't know even. What are we implying here?
Oh well, I mean that's
something that a guest on the podcast said. He seems annoyed and like cross with this, but like, and to be fair, right, Brian Atlas didn't speak up at any point during that. He just kind of sat, not doing anything. So difficult to say if those are his views, but he at least didn't go, "Whoa, come on, guys." So we'll see.
Whole clip that.
Oh wait, who's Daz?
Daz Black.
Wait, hold on. Somebody's knocking on my door. I have no idea who this is. 1 second. Fucking Nino. Okay, sorry. I'm back. Okay. Wait, okay, who's Daz Black? Catch me up.
Oh, well, I guess he's one of the guys that retweeted the video or something.
Okay.
And it got a huge amount of engagement.
And he said he wasn't a fan of the show? Is that like a big deal or?
I forgot exactly what he said. I think he was like, take their mics away.
Oh,
Get rid of
okay.
this I'd have to pull it up. I don't remember exactly what he said, but he's like one of the guys that was credited for kind of getting
One
on
day
the
I
tweet
will just have
cancellation train.
a shitload of chat
Okay.
and just come in and
Yeah, but it's
got
just,
me links.
I don't know. To me, it's like
That's so great. Just instantly there from.
I heard only
One day,
a
of course,
segment
I'll
of
be
what
more
you were
famous.
talking about with ABBA,
Mm-hmm.
and basically it sounded like you were saying, "Hey, you were sitting on that side of the table. You should have said something when they were like with their crazy take or whatever." And yeah, I don't know.
I don't think.
I mean, we just watched it, right? He sat there. They're like, because it's not like, oh, they've got to take it a bit. Like maybe if I was running a podcast and someone's coming out with like a little conservative point, oh, we should cut taxes and deregulate. I might just, let them make the point. I'm not going to interject. But if they're coming out with, oh no, if you're being beaten in a marriage, endure. Divorce isn't real. Just endure. People are pussies. You should take being beaten, right? I mean, come on. Like, I'm probably go, whoa. Those aren't views that, unless you kind of believe them, you want to be associated with. Like, those are the kind of views you want to like immediately distance yourself from. Coming out as pro-domestic abuse is almost like coming out as like pro-pedo. If someone comes out as pro-pedo, you probably go, whoa, no, I disavow nothing. Like, so surely being pro-domestic, like, not just like abuse, like, oh, there's name calling, there's emotional, literally like beating, violence. Come on.
You should have said anything. I think you guys. I mean, personally, I think you guys all believe that shit. But I thought you were within your rights to say whatever you wanted. But I mean, that's just my perspective.
Well, I guess it's just interesting to me because I mean, I didn't say anything. I didn't say a word during that entire segment about the whole injure and abuse thing. Like,
yeah, but that's it. You didn't say a word.
I don't know how to be responsible for something that somebody else said. You know?
On
in
your
the same
show.
way that, for example, Destiny, if Pixie or Aaron said some outlandish shit,
Mm-hmm.
and you sat there silently, I wouldn't say that you co-sign on it unless you explicitly say so yourself or agree.
I disagree. I think that's something I'm like super cognizant of when I'm on those shows, especially because Aaron was being fucking crazy, and Pixie was saying some things I didn't agree with too. That's why, like, at the end of those segments, I was like very careful to come in and kind of like give my take, so that it didn't seem like I was co-signing what they were saying. Like when I came in, I was like, well, I think that patriarchy is this particular thing, or like here's an example of how corporations maybe shouldn't be. Like I was pretty careful to separate myself so that the audience didn't get the impression that I agreed with them. But also, I think you know this. I think most people know this, right? Like if somebody was on your panel saying some wild shit,
that's
like
what
that you
I'm saying.
obviously disagreed with, I think you'd probably fight back against it. But I think the issue is that, like, I think generally speaking, I think you probably roughly agree that like emotional abuse isn't a good reason to like leave a marriage or something. That's probably something you roughly agree with. That'd be my guess.
No, actually, I disagree.
Oh, I don't believe you.
Yeah.
But
I don't
believe you at all. But I mean,
what? But why do you think?
To be fair, maybe I'm jumping the gun because, again, I don't know Brian Atlas hugely well. Maybe I'm just being like, okay, I saw him on this podcast. I've seen 5 hours of him and others. I have a rough idea of what he thinks. So maybe I'm completely wrong.
I'm like,
I'm just
trying
biased.
to do damage control. Like, I mean, here's the thing. I'm the host of the show. I
Sure.
bring on various people with different perspectives on things. There's things that I disagree with Chase, with MLD, with Mary, with you guys. I'm the host, I'm the moderator, and kind of one of the things that I do with the show is, hey, I just kind of sit back and let the conversation flow. And honestly, half the time, I'm not gonna lie, I'm checked out of the conversation. Like, I'm not.
To be fair, I can kind of half believe that because he did look checked out. Like they were going off on some crazy shit, and he was kind of just like. So maybe he was. Maybe he bloody was. Maybe he bloody was. If you're doing a podcast, right, and that's popping off next to you, people are going to assume you agree. Especially when your views are already pretty adjacent to theirs. It's not like, oh, he doesn't agree with any of this. We don't even know, it's like a BBC reporter or something where, they don't even you're not even supposed to know the views. Like, we know he's on their side of the argument, right? But even then, even if he wasn't, like, you need to know that's how podcasting works, right? That's how it's going to work. You're on a panel, people say some crazy shit next to you. Like, you either need to disavow it then, or just have a little disclaimer. Okay, listen, by the way, the views don't represent me, blah, 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 right? Rather than identify as roughly on the same, yourself through what you're saying, as roughly on the same side as them, but then turn around and go, oh, I wasn't even paying attention while they were saying, yeah, a woman should get beaten. Like, I didn't even notice. Why is everyone angry at me? Well, I mean, you should know how the internet works.
I'm not, you saw me, I'm like going behind the scenes. There's some technical issues going on. I'm trying to keep tabs on super chats and TTS and all this stuff. And then I went off because I've been, I went away for like 10-20 minutes to lay down because I've been having chronic neck pain issues, and I have pretty bad like headaches and migraines.
It wasn't lying down at that point, no.
I kind of just like let people talk, and yeah.
Okay.
But so I mean, I don't know how to, like, you think that I agree with Chase and Destiny just because by proxy? Like, just
well, no,
because
because I feel like I've
next to
heard you
them?
like give takes. Like, my guess is going to be, I'm going to start to fill in some blanks here, and I don't actually know, so I could be totally wrong. But like, my guess is like you guys probably think that women are over exaggerating when they talk about abuse, or they've expanded like the definition of abuse to mean like anything, and that women aren't doing a good enough job to stick it out in rough marriages to try to fix it, especially for the day of the children. That women are largely abusive when it comes to things like divorce, where men are getting fucked. Like, these are probably all beliefs that I imagine if I go through your show, either you or probably you directly have given like all these takes before. That'd be my guess. Do you think that'd be true if I were to start going through VODs and finding it?
Well, I mean, I think you just listed off 4 or 5 different things there, but
I bet every single one of those things are things you probably agree with, right?
But just answer the question.
List them again. List them again.
So you probably think that women make out really good in divorce, generally, yeah?
I would say women fare better in divorce than do men.
Okay, that's essentially
Generally
restating what I'm saying, but
speaking.
sure. So women fare better in divorce. You probably
Yeah.
think that most divorces, 60% plus, are women's fault, right?
I've never said that. I don't know who.
Were you the
I don't
one on the show, or was
hold
it?
on,
Or
hold
go
on.
sorry, go ahead,
I
go.
don't.
Yeah.
I don't attribute fault necessarily to the man or the woman. What I do know is that women overwhelmingly initiate divorce. Who's at fault? I can't say.
Well, what would be the point of bringing up that women initiate divorce if you're not placing some blame on them?
What would be the point in saying that? I mean, well, my argument is, and this is an example of where I differ from Chase, is I'm not in favor of marriage.
Yeah, but are you not in favor of marriage as an institution because you think it's bad, or are you not in favor because women abuse men with divorce?
Well, I think there's just such negative consequences typically that disproportionately fall on men when
Right.
it comes to divorce. And that comes in the form.
I can't tell whether he's trying to be like slippery or if he's just like kind of upset and trying to defend himself. Like I can't. Is he being deliberately cagey, or is he kind of deliberately going, "Oh, okay, I need to say something, or I need to try and like defend myself," or is he just kind of casting around and wasn't really? I don't know. It kind of looks like he's being a bit slippery here, but
Of alimony payments. So
Yeah. So this is what I said earlier, that you think that generally like women make out better than men in divorce.
Yeah.
That women
yeah,
have.
trying to get.
Were you the one that
he's getting
quoted that
kind of
thing
defensive.
about 90% of divorces between educated people are initiated by college-educated women?
I think what I've said is 80% of divorces are initiated by women.
Mm-hmm.
And
To be fair to him, though, none of this means he agrees with the idea that a woman should endure in marriage if she's being abused. Because Destiny can say, "Oh, you have all these adjacent positions," which is he does, but like I still think you have to at least show that he kind of agrees with them, or could be construed reasonably by a reasonable person as agreeing with them, right? Because saying, "Oh, you have these red pill beliefs, and then you must agree with these nutcases," it seems a little unfair. I agree 100%. If you're going to sit in silence on a podcast that's your podcast next to people who are saying crazy stuff, you can't be cross when everyone assumes you agree with them. But that doesn't necessarily mean you do agree with them.
it's higher if she's college educated or if she's the breadwinner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But let's get. You were listing out.
Yeah,
the-
well, I'm just
all the
getting
things-
because that was gonna be the next
Yeah.
thing. Have you ever used that 90% figure before? Because I think you did
Well,
on the
I
episode.
think I said it on the show that you were on.
Yeah.
Brian Atlas sounds really nervous. Like, again, this whole event seems to have shaken him up more than I would expect for like a right-wing podcast host. To be fair, if I was Destiny, I mean, just like I would probably just be like, "You okay, mate?" You seem like really agitated. Like, I don't mean that making fun of him. Like, he seems really upset.
Let's see. You probably think a lot of quote unquote abuse is exaggerated from women, I would guess. Like, especially when it comes to like emotional abuse.
I don't know. I think,
Oh, come
No,
on!
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Come on! I don't know, rubbish.
truthfully, I don't know. I do think that there are instances where people claim that there's
Oh yeah, instances.
there's over exaggeration.
He is being a little slippery. He is being a little slippery.
Seen that
Come
in your
on.
own life where people might over exaggerate a situation or make false claims about somebody to receive some sort of benefit. So, I don't think all abuse is over exaggerated.
Okay, but hold on.
And
Boring.
perhaps in-
Everybody.
hold on,
Hold on.
perhaps
No,
in
no, no.
some
Wait,
cases it's
wait. Hold on.
understated.
That's a boring. Of course, not all. Those are like statements we make when we. So like when you say things like that, it makes me think your actual opinion is way more radical than it might even be. Okay, if I say is something bad, and you're like, well,
you
I'm
think-
supposed
hold
to.
on, you
Yeah.
think my position is
True.
radical? What do you mean?
Well, hold on, because when you have
Because
to.
you're assuming what my position is.
No, I am, but now I'm asking a bunch of questions, and I admitted that. I fully admitted, by the way. I'm assuming that this is probably your position. You probably roughly agree with most things that were said, and now I'm asking you a bunch of questions.
No.
to see-
Hold
Yeah,
on.
Okay, go ahead.
No.
Yeah.
I don't roughly agree with most of the things that were said.
Okay.
Just because I sat there silently, in the same way that, for example, And it's interesting that, for example, some of the other girls.
Yeah, but like, come on, it's not just that. It's like Destiny said, right? He's being cagey about his views too. It's not just like, oh, the guy's like, he sat next to them, he's being quiet, which, as we've discussed, is gonna make people think you agree. But it's also just being like, well, I'm not saying everybody, not all cases. I'm not like, he's getting cagey about what he actually believes, which makes him look more guilty, right? Well, you know, if you're in a court of law, you're on trial. So were you there at this time? Well, I mean, maybe I was in the area. I don't know. I mean, I what even is was I there for the whole time? Do I live there? I mean, what do you? I'm going to start thinking. Okay, the guy's lying now.
Look, if you silently, not you, but if you put in the girl with who was kind of being toxic towards you, and then Billy, and then Pixie, and then Aaron silently in that clip, where MLD is talking about you must endure.
What are these games?
Why not attribute that same thing to them? Just because.
He loves this random nonsense. Look at it. He just loves this. The games I see Destiny play, like 90% of them, I've never seen or heard about anyone else who's ever played them, and they look like really basic and like really homemade. So it's just, I know offense to him. If that's what he likes, that's what he likes. It's just funny to me.
Someone is sitting at that table and is not engaging in a particular conversational thread does not mean that they are co-signing. So
yeah, but you have to understand how that's going to be taken. You can't just go, oh, well, I'm not co-signing this, therefore, you know, because I'm sitting there, I don't believe this, right? This is a big, like, podcast with a big audience, right? And people next to you are saying wild stuff. They're not saying, like, you know, it's a bit conservative, it's a bit this, it's a bit that. They're saying wild stuff, right? So you should probably know that, okay, people are going to assume you agree unless you at some point distance yourself, right?
It's a 5-hour conversation. I don't feel the need to, like, agree or disagree with every single stance that is taken, especially as the host and the moderator.
Well, I mean, okay. I don't know what you want me to do about, or what is
no, I'm not.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think you had Abba on the call, and you guys were like, well, he must clearly agree with I don't know exactly what you guys said.
I mean, like, because obviously I think that. Like, I think if somebody on your side was saying things like black people are subhuman, I don't think you would just sit there and kind of like nod along. I think you'd be like, well, hold on. I don't think I agree with that. Right.
Well, but I think one of the issues, first off, with having as many people on the show as we did, we had 11 people on that panel, is it's pretty hard to get your voice in. I'm a soft-spoken guy. I'm fairly introverted. I'm not particularly loud.
Okay, hold on. You're literally the host. You were able to quiet the conversation multiple times. You have literally control over the show and can kick people out. I don't think you have problems.
Yeah, but I don't feel obliged to, at every instance someone says something that I disagree with, that I need to make it a point.
No, come on, bro. I hate it when people do this. It's like, whoa, this crazy thing happened, you know, and then like, yeah, right. It's like, oh, this guy walked in the bar with a gun. Like, maybe we should make sure people don't have guns. Oh, come on, every person that comes into the bar, I'm supposed to check them for a gun? Like, just, you know. Maybe that's a bad example, but still.
I don't that I disagree with this, or I agree with this. I don't think that's necessary.
Okay. I mean, that can be an opinion you have. I think that most people would probably disagree.
Well, I think you're kind of bullying me into a position that I don't hold.
Bullying him.
Oh, well, okay. I don't know what to say about that. If I'm on a show, if I'm on a show and then you are on their side, roughly speaking.
Really
right? You guys are like
Ryan
the red
Reynolds.
pillars, right? So if you're on their side and people on that side are making claims and they're all roughly in agreement with each other, well, then of course I'm going to assume that you're probably roughly in agreement with them. Like, I think it's pretty reasonable, right? That's why when I'm on those shows also, like, I'm trying to think very carefully, like when Aaron was fucking acting insane, and even when Pixie was making arguments I don't agree with, I'm trying to think like, okay, what can I say when she finishes so that the audience clearly knows that I don't believe these things? Because if I don't say anything, I think it would have been fair for everybody to be like, oh, Destiny, especially because these are my friends, right? Well, if Aaron comes on and she starts getting super combative and Pixie's saying stuff about about how all men are oppressed, Destiny must believe the same thing. I would expect everybody to think that. Well,
I disagree.
Okay, that's cool if you disagree, but you would be wrong, okay? Because people will absolutely come to that conclusion.
I feel like you should, again, you just should know.
Even if
you
it's not
just
right,
know. I'm not even
people
gonna
will
bloody
come to
say
that
it again. You
conclusion,
should
right?
just bloody know.
Oh, certainly, people may wrongly come to that conclusion, but if Aaron started saying some outlandish shit and you're on that side of the table, I would not say that you also share that exact same belief. Just because you opted to agree.
It's not about what he's going to say, right? This is the problem with what Brian's saying. He's going, well, I mean, I personally wouldn't. It's not about you and whether you... You know what? Let's believe him. He wouldn't do that. It may be, because it's not outlandish. I'll trust that that's true. It doesn't matter, right? You should know. You've been on the internet long enough. You should know. If you're sat next to a load of people and they're saying a load of crazy stuff, right, then people are going to assume that you agree with them, right? They do this on TV or the news. They'll say, this show doesn't agree with the views of so-and-so and so-and-so. Somebody comes on and says something and it'll be like, all views are related to this person. This channel does not agree with the views. It should just be obvious. This should just be really obvious, right? And it might be that he's just like negligent. But he's negligent for himself because it's like him who's getting in trouble. So he could just be negligent, but if he is, that's really silly. But he doesn't really deserve that much sympathy then.
Not agree or disagree with what she's saying.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but the vast majority of people would just assume that you're in agreement. For instance, I would agree, and I might even be wrong on this, but I would probably say that Fresh and Fit probably agree on 99% of shit. That'd be my guess, because it's not like they ever contradict on the show. But maybe that's not true. Maybe they actually have
You mean Myron and Fresh?
What did I say? I said Fresh and Fit, right?
Okay, between the two of them.
Yeah. The Fresh and Fit, those two, I would assume they probably agree on almost everything because it's not like they're ever calling each other out on their opinions. But maybe they don't. Maybe they actually do have a lot of disagreements. But most people are going to watch the show and assume it's called Fresh and Fit. They never argue with each other. They probably agree with 95% of things, right? But also keep in mind on the show, you literally didn't you literally ask me
the only time I've ever seen them have a disagreement, not that I watch it, I watch the show. I'm usually watching Destiny on it or whoever on it, but. The only time I've seen them disagree, which I found quite funny, was Myron was like, no, I don't think anyone should ever smoke weed, blah, 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 blah. And then Fresh was doing this kind of, well, I don't know, dude, maybe, sometimes people can. And I kind of got a vibe, sometimes he likes a spliff and just doesn't tell Myron. Just keeps it secret. Because he knows Myron will be in his ear. I thought that was pretty funny.
Did you guys plan for her to come in and troll like that? So I think you actually even did kind of assume that we were in on it, which we weren't. Also, to be clear, by the way, we got into an argument over that behavior. Well, you saw it. Yeah.
I don't know if it's worth bringing that up, but you know what?
Whatever you want. It's all good. What up?
You know what though? It did occur to me that after looking it back, you were kind of laughing quite a bit at her. At Aaron's, I don't know. I don't even know how to characterize it. Just
yeah, I was laughing. Do you know why I was laughing?
I don't know. Why don't you tell me?
Okay, I was laughing because 1 or 2 weeks earlier, do you know Farah, right? OnlyFans girl, booby girl.
Yeah.
My friend. Yes, I shouldn't call her OnlyFans. Well, because you told her to move her hair out of the way for fucking cleavage. That's the part.
Now her name's Booby Girl.
Listen, I shouldn't. God damn it, she's gonna get mad at me for that. I'm just kidding. Farah's my friend. She's cool. When she was on your episode, I was raging watching at the episode because I was like, "Fuck me." Farah gets to 1v3 all of these red pill dudes. And the episode that I'm going to go on has me with 3 other people. And historically, I don't expect you to know any of this, but that's fine. But historically, on my stream, multi-partner debates are disastrous for me because I can enunciate myself very well, very clearly, very concisely. And when I have partners, it usually jumbles my performance up a lot. And
this is something I noticed, and I noticed it on this stream, on the Whatever podcast. Destiny's good at debating, and this isn't just true for Destiny, it's true for a lot of people. Is you have somebody who's quite good at debating, and then they paired it with somebody else who maybe debating isn't exactly their forte, and so it's just you feel bad because I like Pixie, right? But then it's whichever one, and then a lot of the time, she just kind of was half agreeing with them and not making like really strong arguments. Not that she did terribly, but yeah, I just feel like, she shouldn't have, into that audience, like in misogyny to racism. A totally valid comparison, but you can't with those people. Like, you could see that as soon as she said it, they were going to freak out, and they did. So there's a lot of stuff she was doing that I just didn't think was as good. And so I totally get this. Like, yeah, it can be difficult if there's somebody who's good paired with somebody who's mediocre.
And I was complaining to Mel, I was like, fuck, like, I'm going to be on with 3 of you guys. Anytime you guys say some shit, it might fuck my shit. And it's going to be really frustrating. And Melina's like, nah, I'm sure it'll be fine. Don't worry about it, blah, blah, blah. And then once we get on the show, Aaron starts going crazy. And I'm sitting like laughing because I'm like, fuck me. And like me and Mel are like awkwardly laughing to each other. But we're not laughing like, oh my God, this is all going to plan. We're laughing because it's awkward and it's because it looks like I've basically come to troll your show. And like anything that she's saying is going to get associated with me immediately because they're on as my friends. And it kind of makes me look bad. That's why I was laughing, but I was laughing awkwardly. But like, it wasn't like, oh, this is like epic. Like, you understand, from my perspective, it doesn't make me look good at all to troll that way. It reduces my ability to go on shows like yours. It probably just makes me look bad in the eyes of your audience. It's not even necessarily like a funny troll. Like, if she would have started like throwing shit and walking out, it would have been funnier. But I mean, that wasn't what was going on. Like, yeah. So I was laughing awkwardly. I didn't say anything up. I don't know if you believe me or not, but you were tuned into their Twitch stream yesterday where I was like arguing with them, like, hey, this is why you had these problems and why people weren't taking you seriously. So we were having an argument with how they appeared on the show. It wasn't like I was like, good job, you guys fucked them up hardcore,
I didn't say that.
Yeah, I mean, you do raise a good point about how perhaps I did attribute some of, hey, are they in this together?
Which is fair, by the way, because we fucking came together.
Right, exactly. So therefore, it should be clear why people seeing you sat next to a load of nutcases coming out with complete insanity, that a lot of people might go, oh, well, actually, I assume that Brian Atlas therefore agrees with it. Like, what other explanation is there? So, exactly, this is the problem. I think Destiny's done this quite well, actually, because he's led Brian to this point to go, well, I would have, assumed you had the views. Exactly.
I would make the same assumptions.
Yeah,
that's totally fair, 100%.
Yeah. But I mean, looking back at it, I'd take your word for it. I obviously just asked the question because there were a couple moments where you guys were kind of laughing together, and I was like, yo, did Aaron plan this? Like, it just seemed like such a silly thing to get stuck on,
Yeah, no, I agree. You going on a dating podcast and making a huge stink when somebody asks you your body count or if you've ever been on a date is kind of dumb. I agree. Yeah, we argued about that a lot.
Yeah. And I think the thing with me is, and just to touch on the whole Aaron thing, she at some point I actually gave her an out by asking her if she was uncomfortable answering the question, and she was being so obtuse. Like, she couldn't just say, hey, I'm uncomfortable answering the question, and then she was just needlessly and deliberately evasive. And at one point she says, we'll get to it later.
Yeah, I agree. She answered every question the worst way possible if she didn't want to answer it, because when I was arguing with her and Pixie, she pointed out, well, Melina didn't answer it either, but they were rougher on me. And I was like, well, Melina said she didn't want to answer it, though. And then they moved on. It was just because of that. Melina gave like a pretty clear, like, I'm not going to answer, so I don't think. And even Lav actually did that on your show as well when she was on. I don't know if you remember her. Where Lav would say she didn't want to answer certain questions.
Was it the Whatever podcast that there was that like picture of Lav like dressed like a Black Panther? I'm gonna see if we can find that actually, because that picture, that was hilarious. We'll just do this. Sorry, I'll leave this.
It's because she gave like a clear answer and she wasn't being evasive, right?
Yeah.
I'm aware of that.
Yeah. Well, I think the whole "we'll get to it later" kind of set a false expectation that later on she would answer, which is why I brought it up later on. And then, I mean, she asked what a virgin was.
Sure, yeah, I understand. I don't disagree with you.
Yeah. And then, so I think the breaking point was, there's something Chase asked her, and I think he was like, did you just come on to troll or something? And she's like, I don't know, am I? Or I don't think that was his question, but
sure.
It was she's just...
Yeah, here it is. It was the Whatever. Look, you can see in the background. Look, you can see it. Ah! Oh dear. Like she's a freedom fighter, fighting the good fight. Yes, yes, comrades, rally behind love for equity and racial justice. Oh dear. Oh, right, let's go back to it.
Being kind of obnoxious, so
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, we kicked her off, but good times. Destiny, do you co-sign the kickoff?
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I didn't disagree.
Oh, okay, all right. Success.
But I also think you co-signed all of the
Bro,
pro
come
abuse
on,
thing that
Destiny,
everybody else
Destiny,
was
bro.
saying, bro.
How you gonna? Okay.
But I mean,
Look.
like, come on, don't you bring girls on to like fucking light them up for their dumbass fucking opinions all the time on like clips and shit? Isn't that like the point? I mean, you can't get too upset if it happens to you guys every now and then, no?
I mean, the thing is I guess I'm.
Yeah, but the thing is, that's happening to them.
Maybe MLD is probably the one that ought to get the brunt of it, but I feel like because, it was on my it happened on my podcast. I don't know. Here's the thing. I think people see the clip and they think, hey, that's MLD is part of the podcast. He's a host of the podcast. He's been on a couple shows. He's a guest. We've had on hundreds of people. So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. I get the sense that you're just not gonna concede that because I didn't immediately be like, whoa, that's a really fucked up take there, MLD. That means I must agree. But my position is that, and my view is, and this doesn't apply to just me. This applies to anybody. I don't know how to be responsible for what somebody else says. I just know
It's called being a host. It's called being a host. What do you mean? I don't know how to be responsible for something somebody else says. Bro, if you're running a TV show, you would be 100% responsible. If they said some shit you can't say on TV, you are literally responsible. Well, you and your producer and everyone else, it's your fault. It's just like that. That's how it is. I'm reminded of that like Alan Partridge bit where it's like, where he swears, and he's like, no, it is 8:01. Technically, I'm a guest and you have failed to control me. It's like true. It's your fault. Happens on your show, your fault.
No, but that's not
for what I say.
Sure. Okay. And then also, listen, fuck. Okay, because I'm not here to help you. I can't help you. I'm just being like super brutally honest. Okay, that's all I'm here for. Okay. I think you do know, because as soon as the topics ventured into territory that you thought might jeopardize the channel, like child porn or rape or any shit like that, you're like, move off this, move off this, move off this. So like, you are clearly capable of changing the topic.
No, I'd forgotten about that. Yeah. A lot. We didn't see this in the clip we watched, but a lot of the way through, they were going even skirting anywhere near TOS. He was like, whoa, come back, come away, stop now, no, don't care, like just move away. Even one time they were talking about like population, and he's like, no, that could be like construed as Great Replacement, and they're like, no, you can talk about population decline, that's not the same. No, he's like, no, too close, no, right, so. He was prepared to stop it when there's a risk to the stream. He was prepared to stop people. So it's not like, oh, he's completely disconnected, not listening. Because he reacted every time they said something they shouldn't. He reacted every time they said something they shouldn't, or came close to saying something they shouldn't. So he at least could bloody hear them.
You're capable of stopping a conversation immediately if you feel like it's going into territory that is not okay, and you're capable of identifying which spots in a conversation like need to be changed up. So I think you can do that. I just think that for this part, you didn't think it was necessarily that egregious what everybody was saying. That's
in regards to TOS, the conversation that was being had, I don't think was at any risk of interfering with TOS and talking about
TOS is a funny old thing, isn't it? It really is. There's like certain like minor words that you could say that would just be like, boom, done. There's certain things you could talk about where you'd just be off. But you can have a couple of fellas sat there basically advocating for domestic violence. It's like, well, technically it's not TOS, so I'm not saying it should be. I mean, it's just funny how it's like swings and roundabouts. And people can get banned for saying seemingly innocuous stuff. But then people are allowed to be like, nah, just stay in a violent marriage, and that's fine. And listen, I'm for free speech. I'm not saying they should be banned. I oppose them being banned. I'm glad they're not banned. But still, it's a bit mental.
You do in this event, or when it comes to abuse, I don't object to that conversation being had. So I'm not sure, like, relating it to, you know, some of the pre-show stuff where it's like, hey, let's not talk about the child stuff, because that's we had a girl come on, and I think I mentioned this before the pre-show. We had this Fed come on who works with that sort of stuff, and she wanted to like jam it into the conversation, and that video ended up getting age restricted, and and it's just, I don't know, it's such a buzzkill to talk about that shit, but
Sure.
at the end of the day, again, I must reiterate, I'm just responsible for what I say. If you guys went and said some wild shit that, like, and someone wanted to say, look at what these people are saying on the whatever podcast, I think you have to go to the individual who's saying it, you know? So
Yeah, I mean, if you believe that, that's fine for you to believe, but nobody else in the industry is going to use that standard. Viewers, show hosts, like, everybody's going to judge people based on what guests on a particular show say. They're going to judge the host based on that. Like, that's going to be super normal everywhere.
Really?
Absolutely,
So
of course.
If somebody
Again, it's normal on telly. It's normal on the radio. It's not confusing. I mean, poor Brian, to be fair, he seems really confused and upset by this, but, like, I would have thought that was common knowledge. Like, I really, really, really would have thought just, oh, everyone knows that. Everyone knows, yeah, if a guest said some crazy shit on your show, you're sat next to them, you're letting them say, people might start to think that those views align with yours, especially if you've got that guest on because your show has a particular view. They agreed, broadly speaking, with that view. They're essentially on your side. It really is going to make people think you agree with them. Maybe he's right. Maybe he had no idea. He never thought about this. He doesn't agree with them. But have some sense, mate. Just have some sense.
comes on a podcast and says some outlandish shit, and they're a guest, then that means that, like, aren't there disclaimers before shows, like the views expressed by the
Yeah, but there wasn't before your show.
do not
There wasn't before
necessarily
your
reflect
show.
the views of the producers or the hosts or some shit. Maybe I should start
Yeah, and
saying
people and people on their Twitters say my views are my own only and don't express my employer. How many times do you think that's? And people also used to write no copyright infringement intended on their copyright infringing videos. Like, it doesn't do anything, right? Yeah.
But okay, let me ask you a question. So Lex Friedman had Kanye West on his show and was interviewing him, and this is not a great example. Because
I'm going to ask you, what's the difference, right?
Well, yeah, yep. I'm already getting there. Lex, granted, pushed back.
Little difference.
Just as
the little difference, like, surely, you know, no, it's basically the same because Lex had him on his show and like pushed back and argued with him, and I sat next to people who were supposed to be on my side and didn't disagree with him. So, maybe that's a bad analogy, is it? Maybe that one's a bad analogy. That one, yeah, maybe, mate. Maybe.
Hey, if someone goes on a platform and says something, I don't think you can necessarily attribute what they're saying to the platform or to the host. Oh,
you keep
Destiny?
Wait, hello?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. You can't. But if you have people on from what's known to be your side of politics, they're saying a load of stuff, you don't push back. Like, if somebody goes on Destiny's show and he's not pushing back against them, I'm going to assume, like, he really agrees with them. Because, like, Destiny will push back on people he agrees with, but there's, like, a minor, you know, there's some, like, minor, he would have said it differently, he would have made a different argument. So, yeah, I definitely would assume he must agree with them if he's just, like, not saying anything.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh.
Can you hold on just 1 sec? I have to.
Yeah. Streaming for another 2 hours. You're good.
1 sec. I'm just gonna mute my mic.
Okay.
What were we talking about? I think we were.
You were saying you were upset how reality works, that audiences will judge a host based on what somebody said.
I think we were talking about getting you and Farah set up, like, on a date or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I be your wingman?
No, why? First of all, why would I ever need or want you, okay, the woman hater, as a wingman?
What the?
Okay,
Bro. Hold on.
Yeah, it's okay. I hate women too. Don't worry.
Whoa, what the fuck? See, I can't tell when you're being.
Yeah,
When
that's the
you're
whole
being
point.
serious.
When I'm never being serious, I can never be called out for not being serious. You know.
See that's
He's not
what.
laughing at Destiny jokes.
Again, I have
Make
to
me
give
look like
you
a
your
simp.
flowers, Destiny. You're a master debater.
Thanks.
Very smart, very intelligent, and so I'm wondering, because look, I'm a college dropout. I used to make prank videos on YouTube. Not exactly like the most,
Highbrow. Yeah.
yeah. You know, I'm not exactly an intellectual titan. Even when it comes to like some of this dating stuff, like I wish I had more time to prepare for the shows, but honestly, I'm so busy like trying to actually make the shows happen.
I
and
know you
dealing
would
with all the
love him
technical
to get
stuff.
to the
Like,
point right now.
Most of the
I
time, I'm
would
just
really love it.
I'm
I'd
winging
love it. I'd love it,
every
Brian,
show.
if you got to the point.
I try to do some preparation, but I'm just too busy. Like I'm running the channel, running the business. I need to bring a team around me.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then, and thus the
English
point
is my
is,
second language. That's my typical cop out.
Is it really? Wait, what's your primary language?
French.
No shot. Speak some French.
Eh bien, Steven, voulez-vous coucher
Okay,
avec
hold on.
moi ce soir?
Was this
Oh,
3
is
years
this
of French in
TOS?
high school or 2 years of French in high school?
Well, see here. Okay, I was born.
Yeah.
I was born in France, and then I moved to the U.S. when I was 5.
Okay.
bro.
So,
As if that counts.
yeah, but
I know he's
you
like, I know he's
technically
fooling
I'm an
around,
ESL
but
student,
still.
True.
So I think I can pass. You know,
Okay.
I should use that as an out more. Oh, I don't understand English.
I couldn't
I'm
speak
sorry.
English until I was 5.
I told Pixie that. I gave her that as unironic advice. I said, if you're ever reaching for words, instead of saying like or whatever, just speak like a little bit of Spanish, like you're searching for words, and people probably interpret you as being smarter.
Spanish.
Yeah, Pixie,
What about Swedish?
No,
Oh,
Pixie.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Sorry. I thought you were saying Mel. Okay.
No.
I guess Mel has that out too. Although they speak pretty good English in Sweden. So
Yeah.
wait. So Pixie, she's
I feel like fast forwarding
Cuban
past
or
all the
what?
nonsense before we had to find the
Puerto
place
Rican.
was a waste of time
Oh,
because
Puerto
this is just
Rican, okay.
back and forth
All right,
jibber
you're
jabber.
Cuban, right?
Are we gonna get anything interesting
But
coming up
Cuban
next?
is like a nationality, right? So it doesn't technically imply anything, right? Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah. But anyway, unironically, I'm not trying to. Again, I'm not here to like cancel. I don't want you guys to be canceled again because I love your platform. But seriously, if you're sitting on a side of the table with people that are like going hard on some topic, people are going to assume that everybody on that side of the table agrees with everything that's being said. It's funny because, and you can actually read my editor because we talk about strategies for going on podcasts. When I go on podcasts like that, and when I did the one the day before with Sneeko, something that I have to be very careful of is I try very hard to separate myself from people that I'm on the same side as, so that people don't think we have the same opinion. And ironically enough, the problem that all 3 or 4 of you guys were running into is you guys were all falling over each other's opinions on the matter. Like John Doyle was giving extreme takes, the dating guy was giving kind of takes, and then the Chase guy was giving kind of like Christian Tradcon takes, and like all of you guys were like kind of tripping over yourselves trying to figure out what was going on. But it's because nobody took the time to separate. Like, okay, hold on, this guy believes this, I believe this, and so when people see it, they just end up throwing everything together, which it might not be fair, but like that's just the reality of what will always happen on those shows. So if you want to be careful of that in the future, if anybody's saying some shit and you feel like you disagree with it, or if you feel like it's going to blow back bad on you or whatever, just like be clear to be like, hey, this guy's making this argument, I don't believe it, but I'll let this argument play out.
True.
Like, you have to like
exactly.
enunciate that, or people are just going to assume you agree with it.
You cannot just assume. You can't I just feel like he should know this. Like I know this because I know this like from old media. I knew this when I was a kid. How do you like run a podcast? You must take time to set up. It must take stuff to not just think, well, shit, these people are saying crazy stuff and I've got them on because people know they're broadly within my political sphere, right? Well, if they're saying crazy shit and I just sit there going, people are going to think I agree. Like, I thought everybody knew this. I'm sorry, but maybe I've given Brian Atlas too much credit. Remember, he did speak French until he was 5, so.
Everything.
That's a fair point. Yeah. Noted.
Yeah.
Noted. Definitely.
English is a second language from the age of 5.
I mean, I just assumed that, maybe because my view is, and perhaps I went into this wrongly, my view is if just because someone is of the same, for example, political orientation, I don't, for example, if I don't think it should be the case if you know somebody's stance on one political issue, that you ought to be able to for example, but like I think it's the case that at least in the U.S., if
I don't know, there are certain political opinions a person can hold, and it's not actually necessarily even just about the opinion. It can often be about the way they express that opinion that's like going to inform a load of other stuff. Like, for example, if someone tells you that Biden stole the election, right? If somebody tells you that, well, I can make a load of other inferences. They're a Trump supporter. You know, there's a high likelihood they believe something like QAnon, although they may not. They probably believe like a lot of the Trump stuff that, that the deep state was like trying to interfere with Trump. They're probably anti-vax, but and so on and so forth. Sometimes somebody can have certain opinions, especially like being red pill. Like if someone's in that red pill manosphere, there's a lot of stuff I can probably say. Like you probably think it's really bad for a woman to sleep around. You probably think that like modern women have fallen, that they're not, that they're like all hoes, this, that, and the other. They probably believe, they probably actually kind of quite conservative politically, support Trump, that kind of thing. Right. They probably, they probably promote, just go down the gym, work hard, blah, blah, blah. And then you can sleep with all the women. And then that's, right. And so on and so forth. Like we can make inferences based on one or two views about the rest of somebody's positions.
not all the time, but if you know someone's stance on one issue, it's very likely you can guess their stance on
on almost everything. Yeah.
On almost everything.
Like if I ask somebody like, are you a fan of Andrew Tate? If they say yes, I also know that they probably support Donald Trump. They probably view Islam more favorably than Christianity. They're probably against vaccinations. They probably think the FDA is bad. They probably have strong opinions about Fauci and Klaus Schwab. They probably don't like the World Economic Forum. Like I can guess like 20 political opinions just based on that one thing. Sure. And then same thing when people see somebody with blue hair. Literally, you can also probably guess like you can generate like 30 opinions immediately just by the hair color they have.
Really? What is the mishegas with the blue hair and right opinions? Like blue hair isn't a symbol. Blue hair feminist, blue hair SJ. It's not a symbol of any political opinion, right? It's literally just a fashion thing. It's like going, you probably got some like big conservative with facial hair. It's like, well, no, just some guys have facial hair. Like it's fashionable at the moment to have beards, moustaches, etc. Right? It's fashionable at the moment for women to have coloured hair. A lot of women do. I've known women have coloured hair and be conservative. It's not like the liberal uniform. Like the liberal uniform. Like maybe not super socially conservative women, but like I don't know why people are like, blue hair, feminist, blah 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 blah. Like you can't tell that alone from the hair.
Right. They probably use pronouns, probably don't like Biden or Trump, and they wanted Bernie Sanders to win, but they think he got ripped off the election. Probably think that we should still be wearing masks forever. Probably you can figure all this out like pretty quickly. So, I mean, I understand why people do it.
Yeah. But I don't think that...
I'm sorry, like a lot of those stuff you could not figure out just from someone having blue hair. I think maybe Destiny's trying to appeal to him. Maybe he's trying to appeal to him, but like, it's still pretty stupid. Like, I'm sorry, it's still pretty stupid.
I don't think that should be the case where if you're, for example, how it was with the panel. Now, I agree with you that perhaps that's how a lot of people are going to take it. So I guess my question to you is, because of my silence, do you genuinely think, yes, Brian, the host of the Whatever podcast,
doesn't really matter.
He also agrees with it? Or do you think, hey, this is actually the perception that how most people are going to view it? So where do you fall?
Well, I mean, based on what I've seen in the past, yeah, I would assume that you believe it, but I understand you don't like my opinion on that.
Well, what have you seen in the past?
Well, it seems like you guys have like the pretty bog standard like red pill takes, like everything I was saying earlier about like divorce and women manipulating men in marriages and coming up better and being evil and all that. Like I feel like
I don't know if that's so much a red pill take as it's a men's rights take.
Yeah, but even MRAs are like.
Red pill, what's the difference?
On a lot of their social takes. Like if somebody tells me they're an MRA, like I agree with a lot of men's rights issues that they bring up, to be honest, but like I would never announce myself as an MRA ever.
Yeah, to be fair, like if somebody said that they're a men's rights activist, that to me seems like an old school word for a red pillar without a lot of the weird dating stuff, right? Like when you say men, like red pill was just like the progression from the men's rights nonsense in the past, right? Like there's no difference between like red pill ideology. Like I'm sure there's a little bit of maybe small difference. Like maybe the modern red pillars are trying to bang more women, but like what is the ideological difference between like the red pill and the old school, say 2012 MRA people. I can't think of anything meaningful. I think it's bloody nothing, to be honest.
Because I know the types of beliefs that those people get associated with. So
What kind of beliefs do they get associated with?
they just hate women.
No, come on, that's not fair.
More often than
That's
not,
not
it's generally true. I feel like that's true of most red pill spaces. They just hate
Well,
women.
I mean,
but
if MRA is the counter to feminism, would you say that most feminists hate men?
feminism is a way broader movement than MRAs. So I wouldn't say that exactly, but I would say, yeah, there are a lot of feminism that hate men. Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's like a fringe, right? I think that's kind of that is the difference, though. Men's rights movement was kind of a niche, deliberately anti-feminist, anti-woman movement, whereas feminism literally was started because of like very real injustices. Whereas, at least historically, when it was a bigger thing online, a lot of the men's rights activists weren't really focusing on actual men's issues, suicide, loneliness, all of this kind of stuff, and were instead just focusing on oh, look at the evils of feminism. It was a lot of the stuff red pillars do, all the women today hope. It's similar, rubbish. Again, I don't know what the meaningful difference between what they believe and what a red pillar believes is. I think it's bugger all, basically. I think it's bugger all.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I agree with that.
Sure. Well, but you would probably say all feminists hate men, but...
No, I wouldn't say... Well, I mean, I think this term feminism is not particularly helpful, and maybe this is kind of no true Scotsman, but it's just, I think feminism, someone will think feminism means equality, and then they're gonna want to attach to the term. But I don't think feminism is about equality, and I think there's different, I don't know, it's such a convoluted concept.
I mean, there's a lot of people that think that there are feminists that are just looking for equity between the sexes. Like,
well, I don't really understand this equity concept. Equality makes sense to me, but equity I'm not so sure on.
Well, I mean, equity probably seeks to address a lot of the underlying differences between men and women that oftentimes, between men and women that oftentimes aren't going to be accounted for with a brutal fact check between like men and women. So, for instance, just saying that, for instance, today, if I could push a button and delete all racism in the United States, it wouldn't help black people catch up to white people. They'd all be still pretty fucked because of the history of things that happened. But I mean, I am going to agree with you that I'll be honest, when I hear somebody say equity, I usually cringe because I know I'm about to hear the worst fucking takes I've ever heard in my life. Because most of the time people say equity, they're about to say some wild shit. But I mean, generally speaking, equity means something for a reason. But.
Mm-hmm. And wait, so do you consider yourself a feminist? I think you said you did on the show.
Yeah, but I'm gonna qualify that really hard when I say that because I know what that evokes when somebody says they're a feminist, right?
Right. Okay. So do you?
It kind of is an annoying thing that I do get that if you're talking to red pillars and you go, yeah, I'm a feminist or I support feminism. Personally, I don't I kind of think guys shouldn't really call ourselves feminists. We should more listen to what they're saying and try and analyze our own behavior. But if you say to red pillars I'm a feminist, they're going to assume a load of complete nonsense. So yeah, I totally agree. You got to qualify that. No choice.
Hate men is
yeah, but I hate women too, so it kind of balances out.
Okay, you're an equal opportunity hater.
Yeah, I don't hate men or women. I think that they both do fucking retarded things in a lot of different points of their lives.
Sure.
Yeah, but then depending on who I'm talking to, they get mad at what I say. Women get mad because they think I blame them for rape because I think some of it's kind of their fault, and then men get mad at me when I blame them for rape because I think a lot of it's probably their fault, and then we get into whatever. But it is what it is. Yeah. But I mean, you guys must have had viral clips before where people are blowing you guys up and shit. I feel like I've seen viral clips.
Yeah, this is what I was saying at the beginning. They must have had the shit that they say these in this red pill community and all of this. They must have people coming at them. How do you have a podcast, for that long and you haven't got a load of people coming at you? Cancel him. Look what he said. This is awful. I kind of don't believe... If this is the first time this has happened, that is weird to me.
Your show. But I guess it's usually you blowing up the girls, not you guys, catching heat from people.
I mean, I think this is how perhaps what I do is a little bit different than Fresh and Fit is, and a lot of the clips we don't even produce ourselves. Like, it's just other people, and not even employed by us, just people who watch the show and they clip moments. I guess this is kind of my differentiating point is, and granted, I think Fresh and Fit, a lot of the people will go on there, a lot of the women will go on there and have some interesting takes, let's say. But if you look at the clips of Fresh and Fit, generally it's more so Myron cooking. It's Myron talking about Red Pill or having some base take, whatever it is, right? But what I like to do with my podcast is I try to give space and opportunity for people to talk. So oftentimes the clips you see from whatever, it's not me talking, although sometimes it is. It's typically the women saying something. And typically it's not always the most flattering thing.
Sure.
But it's usually not me like fucking dunking on chicks, and there's a few of those moments, but I typically try to, I'm more about asking questions and letting people speak, because I'm more interested in just hearing people's take on it instead of just getting a quick answer and then immediately trying to insert my view into things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Good times. Good times.
Good
So
times.
yeah, basically I suck at debating and you're a fucking legend. How do I become an orbiter?
I don't know, dude.
Is that too direct? Is that too direct?
Well, I mean, I think you can always hop on my stream and chat if you want to chat. So.
Yeah. Is this gonna be like a apprenticeship?
If you want it to be, but
Maybe
I
need to get on people's streams.
I don't know
I
what
need to
you
get on
want me
people's
to
streams,
say.
so I have more than one viewer. Which
Yeah, we take all
Crystal's my
kinds here.
fiance,
Okay?
Then a load of people who pop in, watch me for 5 minutes and go.
Wait, question.
Yeah.
Did you have so again, to give you your flowers, like super smart dude, very articulate.
Wait, who are we talking about right now?
You.
Oh, okay. Sorry, go
You.
ahead.
Yeah, sorry. English is my second language.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Did you always kind of have a natural talent for talking and debate?
I mean, like, I was argumentative all throughout high school, so like I've been doing being an asshole my whole life, basically. So kind of, yeah.
Okay. Good times.
Yeah.
Creationist debate coming tomorrow.
But I mean,
debating
'cause
a
I saw a clip, and I mean,
debating a
going to
creationist
that,
on
Rolo
young Earth
conversation,
creationism. So that's gonna be fun.
like it looks like you do a fair amount of preparation. Before,
Yeah, if I'm having a serious conversation that is an issue that is important to me, and I know I'm going to be on an adversarial platform where I'm trying to represent my side the best, then yeah, I do a lot of homework for stuff like this. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Did you do any prep for our podcast?
No, because I thought that everything I did for the Rolo one was going to equip me about as well as it could have. I don't know what other additional prep I could have done.
Yo, can you tell me what is glazing? What is glazing?
Glazing is it's when you're giving props to somebody.
Oh, okay. Brian heard Destiny's behind now. What the bro, guys, relax. Can you like send me the PDF like of
Of what?
of your notes for the whatever podcast?
Oh, I didn't have notes for the whatever podcast. I said I did ones for the Rolo one, but
Oh, okay. I see.
I can shoot you the outline. I did this in one day.
I think the memes are done, and I think it's just going to be like meandering. And I think when the memes are done, when the memes stop. So okay, so yeah, basically, I thought there was going to be more drama there, but just kind of came on, tried to defend himself. He sounded genuinely shaken and upset through a lot of that, but then he sounded like that when they were just talking. So I don't even know, is that just how he sounds? Was he upset? Like he seemed quite upset at the beginning. He seemed scared he was getting cancelled. It seemed like he never had people coming at him before. I don't know what's up with that. Like, that was weird to me. And then, like, yeah, it just seems so stupid that you don't know. You have people on your show, and you have them on because they basically agree with you and what you believe, and then they're saying crazy shit next to you, and you're just like messing around, like not looking at them. People are going to assume you're not stepping in to agree, especially when we've seen you step in dozens of times. So, whoa, TOS, whoa, don't say that. Everyone is going to assume you agree. Okay, that's a short stream. That's what I'm doing. That's all I've done today. Maybe a little bit more tonight. Creationist debate tomorrow.